Hello, my name is Robert Pound and I am a product technologist from Quest. In this video, I'd like to talk to you about the profiler in Toad Data Point and how it can give you a leg up in your analysis. Understanding and combining data are two of the major endeavors at the front end of any data analysis task. Toad Data Point addresses these issues in a number of ways, however, the focus of this video will be on the profiler. Highlights of the profiler include the ability to rapidly understand your data through the use of visual tools, grid data, and statistics, as well as the ability to drill down on specific data sets. Now let's have a more detailed look at the profiler. There are different options to access the profiler. If you have a query builder or SQL editor open and you have a result set that you want to profile, you can go to the Profiling tab and choose Full Profiling in the upper right. This will open up a window that allows you to select the type of sampling as well as the data types that you want to choose, as well as columns. I'm going to cancel out of this. You can also, from the Object Explorer, right-click on an object and choose Profile. You can also select it from the Tools or from the ribbon bar. Since I have a Profiling tab open, one of the sources available is the current window. I can also choose data objects that I have access to. From the library, I can choose any SQL file that I have stored in the library to select data, or I can enter in a query in the wizard itself. I'm going to go back to Data Objects and choose Address. At this point, I can choose options as well. So once I have the data selected, I can again choose all, sum, or random selection. I can choose the type of analysis that I want to do that we'll get to in a second. Here, I'm going to just choose the defaults. And again, the column selection. So you can choose all the columns. You can choose a select subset of the columns depending on what type of analysis you want to do. I'm going to choose all, but if you have a larger table or result set, you may want to deselect certain columns. And with this, I'm going to go ahead and choose Profile. And with the Profiling tab open, we are presented with a Summary tab inside of it. This gives us information about the columns and the types of patterns, statistics, data types, breakdown of how each column is populated. And we also have a visual representation. So if you hover over any of these columns, you'll get a percentage breakdown as well. The information in the legend explains exactly what each one of these columns mean. I will not get into that, but you can read them for yourself. And you have all the data at the bottom as well. So if you want to take a look at the data, it's right here at the bottom. So moving on to the Statistics tab. This gives a breakdown of the individual columns. So as you select the columns on the left, it's going to give you the statistical breakdown, as you can see here, as well as the numerical breakdown of the individual categories. And on the right, as we choose, you can choose a grouped up frequency distribution, percentiles, value distribution, etc. As we can see here, for address ID, it's grouped it into hundreds, so 100, 200, 300. And if we want to look at, in this case, the 300 to 400, we can double click on this and it will open up a selected tab. So now we only have addresses in the 300s if we want to drill down into this subcategory. And if we want all data, we can again select the all data tab. Moving on to frequency. So the frequency tab has information specifically about the frequency of each one of the objects in a given column. So for the address ID, it's going to have only a count of 1 for each one of them because, as we saw in the previous tab, the address ID was unique. But if we look to, for instance, state, it's going to give a breakdown of each one of the states. And then if you want to, again, drill in, you can double click. And now we have all the addresses in Texas, for instance. Moving on to the Patterns tab. So this breaks down what sort of patterns show up in individual columns. So in the case of city, it's going to be all letters. There are some hyphens in this case. If we look at address, it's going to be digits followed by letters. So, and then we have the breakdown of each one of those here. And in the case of postal code, it's only going to be digits, which is what we expected. And looking at the language tab, this is just going to show any sort of character sets you have for each one of the columns. And finally, the duplicates tab. We can further drill down into the duplicates. So looking at address, if I check address and then check duplicates. So these addresses are the same, but they are in different cities and state. So if I choose address and then either one, state or city, let me choose state and then check duplicates again, there will be no duplicates because even though the address is repeated, the combination of address and state is not repeated. And finally, looking down at the toolbar, so you have access to the tutorials and the ability to save this profile as a file to reopen. You can also affect the options that we saw earlier. So if you wanted to come in and, for instance, change the query, maybe filter it first or add in a join, deselect certain columns, you have the ability to do that here. If you have Toad Intelligence Central Server and Toad Data Point Professional, you have the ability to publish this file to Toad Intelligence Central Server, as well as add it to your project manager. You can also create a report. So if I open this up, it's going to give me a preview of the report, breaking down all the individual columns. From here, I have the ability to export this or email it in several different formats, but that's an option to share this report out with folks that don't necessarily have Toad Intelligence Central Server or Toad Data Point. You can still share this information out. And that pretty much wraps it up for today. So hopefully this video helped you understand how you can use the profiler in Toad Data Point to understand your data. To get more information on this or other topics, you can choose the Toad Help file in the tool. It provides all the content information you need, as well as tutorials to help walk you through certain topics. You can also check out the community-driven innovation going on at www.toadworld.com. I highly encourage you to log in the tool so that you can get content specific to Toad Data Point. For more information on this product, visit www.quest.com/products/Toad Data Point. Thank you and have an excellent day.